The night sky above the alien capital of Zyril 9 shimmered with 3 moons. Soft silver light fell over the royal gardens, where flowers glowed and trees whispered with warm wind. Deep inside the royal palace, behind heavy stone walls and guarded towers, the alien Princess Zara moved like a shadow. She wore a cloak to hide her royal markings, blue crystal lines that ran down her neck and arms. Her breath was fast. Her heart was louder than her footsteps. She wasn't supposed to be here. No one must know, especially not her father, King Tharnax, ruler of the Varnak Empire and the most feared enemy of Earth. But Zara had a secret, a human secret. She reached the old abandoned library near the back of the palace. It was dusty and locked from outside, but Zara had the key. She pressed her hand against the wall. A panel slid open. Inside, a human sat on the cold floor. His clothes were torn, his face bruised, but when he saw her, he smiled. "Zara," he whispered. She rushed to him. "Marcus, are you all right? Did they hurt you again?" Marcus nodded slowly. "They think I'm still unconscious. I pretended to pass out when the guards left food." Zara held his face in her hands. "I'm sorry I couldn't come earlier." "You shouldn't come at all," Marcus said gently. "If they find out—" "They won't," she interrupted. "I'm careful, I always am. But tonight, something was different." Her eyes were wet, her hands trembled. "What is it?" Marcus asked. She looked away. "I have to tell you something. Something important." Marcus held her hand. "Tell me." Zara took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant, Marcus. With your child." Silence. The air stood still. Even the soft wind seemed to hold its breath. Marcus blinked. "What? Are you sure?" Zara nodded. "It's been confirmed. The royal healers think I'm sick. They don't know the truth yet." Marcus stood slowly. "Zara, this could get you executed. Me too. And the child." "I don't care," she said, her voice firm. "This child is part of me, and part of you. I will protect it with my life." Marcus held her close. His voice was full of fear and love. "You should run. Leave this planet. I'm just a human soldier. I don't matter here. You matter to me," she whispered. "You always have." Unseen in the dark corner of the library, a small metallic eye blinked red. A spy drone, the size of a finger, floated silently in the corner. It had recorded everything, and it had already sent the message to the king. In the royal throne room, King Tharnax sat on a massive black crystal throne. His body was tall and armored in dark scales. His eyes glowed green, cold and sharp. His generals stood silent on either side. The drone hovered before him, playing the message. Zara's voice echoed in the chamber. "I'm pregnant, Marcus, with your child." The king's hand crushed the armrest. A general dared to speak. "Your Majesty, this could be a trap by the humans. Genetic contamination." "Silence," the king growled. "My daughter has broken our highest law. She touched a human, loved a human, bred with a human." Gasps filled the room. Tharnax stood, towering over everyone. "Find her. Lock her in the sky chamber. As for the human," his voice dropped to a chilling whisper, "prepare the public execution." Back in the secret library, Zara and Marcus were still holding each other, unaware that the trap was already closing. Suddenly, boom! The wall behind them exploded. Guards in black armor stormed in, weapons aimed. Zara screamed as Marcus stood to shield her. A captain shouted, "Seize the human. Do not harm the princess." Marcus was dragged away, his arms chained. Blood ran. From his forehead, Zara fell to her knees, crying. "No, don't hurt him. Please. He's the father of my child." The guards froze for a second, but the captain only frowned and pulled her away. Zara's voice echoed down the stone hall as they took Marcus. "He's not your enemy. He's mine. He's mine." High above the palace, lightning cracked across the sky. And far beyond, on Earth, no one knew that a war was about to begin. All because of a forbidden love. The sun never touched the royal prison tower. It stood high in the clouds, locked behind layers of steel and energy fields. This was where Princess Zara was taken, alone, afraid, and already feeling the life inside, her growing. The sky chamber was silent. No windows. Only humming lights and cold floors. Zara sat on the edge of the long silver bed, her hand over her stomach. She whispered to herself, "He'll come back. Marcus will find a way." But in her heart, she wasn't sure. Meanwhile, deep in the palace dungeons, Marcus was barely alive. His hands were tied above his head. His chest was marked with red welts. Alien guards watched from outside the force field, laughing as he coughed blood. They didn't ask questions. They didn't want answers. To them, he was filth, a human who dared touch their princess. But one person stood outside the chamber, quietly observing through a black visor. She wore a healer's robe, but she wasn't just a healer. Her name was Varel, one of the secret royal medics who still believed in peace between species. She turned and walked away without saying a word, but her mind was racing. Up in the throne room, King Tharnak stood before his advisors. His fingers tapped the war table, his eyes locked on the star map above it. "The child will be born in 3 months, his general said. "Shall we terminate it, my king?" Tharnax's voice was cold. "My daughter has become impure. The human will die before the cycle ends. But the child..." He paused. The room waited. "The child will be studied, then erased." "But the law, sire. I am the law," he growled. In the sky chamber, a low hiss sounded. Zara looked up. The door slid open. It was Varel. Zara stood quickly. "You shouldn't be here. If they find you..." "I brought food," Varel said calmly. She placed the tray down, then leaned in close. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They're going to end it. The child. Your child." Zara's breath caught in her throat. "No. No. My father wouldn't..." "He already gave the order." Zara backed away, shaking. "I have to get out. I have to find Marcus. He's the father. He's the only one who can help me escape." Varel looked at her sadly. "Marcus is still alive, for now." Zara rushed forward. "Please, help me. I beg you, not for me. For my baby." There was a long silence. Then Varel nodded. "There's one way. But you must be brave." That night, the sky chamber's systems glitched. The cameras went dark for 3 minutes. That was all Zara needed. She slipped through the vent in the floor, climbed down into the waste tunnel, and dropped silently into the maintenance corridor. Her royal robes were gone. She wore a gray coat and boots, like a commoner. The pain in her back was growing. Her child was stirring inside, but she didn't stop. She moved like a ghost through the shadows until a sharp voice, "Halt!" She froze. 2 guards stood ahead, weapons raised, hands up. Zara lifted her arms, but then a flash bomb went off. Smoke filled the hallway. A figure rushed in and grabbed her. Zara coughed but didn't resist. She knew that smell. Marcus's cologne. Except it wasn't Marcus. It was Varel. She had come back. 10 minutes later, in a hidden chamber under the palace gardens, Zara found herself staring at a transport pod. "Where does this go?" she asked. "To an old rebel station on the ice moon Korath 6, Varel answered. "They'll hide you. They owe me." Zara hesitated. "And Marcus?" Varel's eyes lowered. "I'm sorry. They moved him. I couldn't reach him. But I promise I'll try." Zara looked at the pod, then at her stomach. She stepped inside. On the palace monitors, the king watched as red alarms flashed across his screens. Sky chamber breach. Prisoner missing. He crushed a crystal cup in his hand. "Find her. Bring me the child. Burn everything else." As Zara's pod launched into space, tears rolled down her face. She had lost everything. Her home. Her father. Her love. But she had one thing left. Hope. Hope that the child growing inside her would live. Hope that Marcus was still alive. Hope that one day, their family could be whole again. The ice moon Korath 6 was a place most had, forgotten. It was cold, buried in snowstorms, and filled with the bones of old battles. Long ago, rebel forces had used it as a hideout. Now only silence lived here, but in one underground chamber, lit by flickering lights and warmed by old human, tech life was stirring. Princess Zira lay on a metal bed, breathing hard. Her skin was pale. Sweat dripped from her forehead. Her hands gripped the sides of the bed as pain tore through her body. "She's in labor," the old medic said. He was human, one of the rebels who still remembered the Earth-Varnak War. "Get more water. And towels, hurry!" Zira cried out again, her voice echoing through the frozen halls. Outside the chamber, blizzards howled. But inside, something new was about to be born. Hours passed. The pain was long and deep. But finally, a soft cry broke the silence. A small child, wrapped in white cloth, opened her eyes. One eye was glowing blue like Zira's. The other was warm brown, human, like Marcus. The medic stepped back in shock. "By the stars, what is she?" Zira, weak and shaking, smiled through her tears. "She is Elira. She is mine." The medic leaned in closer. The baby's skin shimmered faintly. Her heartbeat was strong, stronger than most newborns. "She's not just mixed," he whispered. "She's something more." That same moment, light years away on Zyril 9, King Tharnak slammed his fist into a command console. "She's alive? And she's given birth?" The general nodded. "The rebel base on Korath 6 activated 2 hours ago. One lifeform signature changed mother to child." The king stood still for a moment. Then he turned, eyes glowing with rage. "Send the hunters. Burn the moon. I want that child in my hands." Back on Korath 6, strange things began happening. The baby, Elira, would not cry unless someone lied. When Zara's hands trembled from weakness, Elira touched her, and her pain faded. Lights flickered when the baby looked at them. Machines turned on by themselves. The medic whispered to the others, "This child, she's a bridge between two species," but Zara said nothing. She just held her daughter close. "She is love," she whispered. "She is everything I lost, and everything I still have." Later that night, a quiet alarm beeped in the hallway. The rebel lookout ran inside, panting. "Ships, Varnak ships, dropping fast." Zira stood quickly, pressing Elira against her chest. "They found us." The medic handed her a small case. "There's an escape shaft through the storage bay, use it." "But what about you?" she asked. He smiled, old and tired. "My time's done. Yours is just starting." Snow exploded as black ships landed like angry crows. Elite Varnak soldiers stepped out, scanning the ice. One of them raised a hand. "There," he hissed. "Underground heat signatures." They began digging. Time was running out. Zira ran through the icy tunnels, Elira in her arms. Her breath came out in white gasps. Her boots slipped, her back ached, but she didn't stop. She reached the end of the tunnel, but the door was frozen shut. She screamed, hit it, kicked it, then Elira touched the door. It melted like butter. Zira looked at her daughter, heart pounding. "What are you?" Elira only giggled softly. Far above, orbiting Earth, a hidden lab ship blinked to life. Inside, a man floated in a tube. Marcus. His eyes opened suddenly. He gasped, choking. An AI voice said, "Heartbeat match detected. Hybrid daughter has been born. Initiating recovery." Marcus whispered, "Zara." Then the tube cracked open. As Zara escaped into the snowstorm, she didn't look back. Behind her, the moon was burning. Above her, the stars were watching, and in her arms, the galaxy's most dangerous and beautiful secret had just been born. Boom. The ground shook under Zira's feet. A red glow lit up the sky as flames fell like rain onto the icy surface of Korath 6. The once silent moon had become a battlefield. Zira held her baby Elira close to her chest, wrapping her in a thick blanket. Snow whipped around them. Smoke rose behind them. The rebel base was gone. The air was full of ash and fear. "They're not just after us," Zira whispered. "They want to erase every trace." Far above in the Varnak flagship, King Tharnak stood on the bridge. His giant claws curled around the rail as he stared at the destruction through the glass. "Fire it again," he ordered. A young alien officer hesitated. "But there's a child down there." Tharnax's eyes glowed green with fury. "She's not a child. She's a threat." The second shot fired. A beam of pure heat struck the frozen moon again, carving a massive crack across its surface. Zira ran, her boots skidded across ice. Her lungs burned. The baby didn't cry. She only watched the sky with wide, glowing eyes. Then it happened. The snowstorm parted, and a drone dropped in front of them. Zira turned, ready to fight. But the drone blinked blue. A human voice came through the speaker. "Zira, it's me. Marcus." Her heart nearly stopped. "Marcus?" she whispered. "I'm alive. I escaped. The lab ship found me when Elira was born. I've been looking for you since." Zira fell to her knees, tears mixed with snow on her cheeks. "Follow the drone, I'm sending a ship. We don't have much time." In orbit near Earth, Marcus stood on the deck of an old rebel cruiser. His body was thin from recovery, but his eyes burned with purpose. "She's alive," he said. "And the child is with her?" The rebel commander, a grizzled woman named Adira, looked at him. "If that alien king comes here, Earth won't be ready." Marcus nodded. "Then we'll have to be." Back on Korath 6, Zira followed the drone into a frozen cave. A small shuttle waited inside, half covered in frost. The door opened. She stepped, encradling Elira close. The drone hovered near her shoulder. "Hang on tight," Marcus said through the speaker. "This ride's gonna shake the stars." The engines roared. The ship blasted out of the cave just as the moon cracked again, glowing lava pouring through. Behind them, the surface of Korath 6 began to break apart. On Earth, the skies darkened. Alien ships entered orbit, hundreds of them. Cities around the globe sounded alarms. People looked up and saw red lights shining through the clouds. The Varnak invasion had begun. Marcus stood on Earth's last defense station. He looked at the sky, heart racing. "She's coming," he whispered. "My family's coming." Behind him, Earth soldiers loaded weapons. Civilians were being rushed to underground bunkers. One soldier asked him, "Sir, what do we do if the alien king lands?" Marcus looked the man in the eyes. "We don't kneel. Not for monsters." Zara's shuttle broke through the stars. Earth came into view, blue, beautiful, full of life. But her smile faded when she saw what was above it. Varnak. Warships. Dozens of them. Zara looked at her daughter. Elira's eyes were glowing. Her little fingers reached toward Earth's sky like she could feel something. "What is it, my love?" Zara whispered. Suddenly, the shuttle's console blinked. A new voice broke in. "This is Earth Defense Command. Identify yourself or be shot down." Zara reached for the radio. "This is Princess Zara of Varnak. I am carrying the hybrid child Elira. I come in peace." There was a pause. Then, "Zara," a familiar voice said. It was Marcus. The shuttle landed in a hidden base near Earth's mountains. The moment the door opened, Marcus was there. He didn't speak. He just ran forward and held them both, Zara and Elira, like his life depended on it. Zara sobbed. "They're right behind me." "He's coming, Marcus." Marcus kissed her forehead. Then, "We'll protect her. We'll protect both of you." In the stars above, King Tharnax's ship turned toward Earth. His voice echoed through all his fleets. "Prepare to destroy the human homeworld. I want the child. And I want blood. Smoke rose from the edges of Earth's atmosphere. Fire trails lit up the sky as Varnak warships entered from orbit. Dark, sharp, and shaped like blades. City alarms screamed. Sirens howled. The people of Earth looked up and saw the beginning of war. But humans did not run. They did not kneel. They prepared to fight. In a mountain base buried beneath layers of rock and steel, Marcus held Elira in his arms. The child stared at him with curious eyes, one glowing blue, the other warm brown. She looks like you, Marcus whispered to Zira, who stood beside him. She is you, Zira replied softly, and she may be the only one who can stop what's coming. Just then, a soldier rushed into the room. They've broken into the upper orbit. Earth Defense wants you both in the command center now. Inside the command room, giant screens showed the invasion. Multiple ships landing near oceans, deserts, and forests. Marcus stepped forward. We can't outgun them, he said. But we can outthink them. General Hayes, a broad-shouldered veteran, stared at him. You've fought them before? I've loved one of them, Marcus replied, placing a hand on Zara's back. And their king will destroy this world just to erase our child. Zara stepped up. I can reach some of the Varnak soldiers. Not all of them believe in this war. Many are forced to obey. Let me try. General Hayes nodded. And the child? Everyone looked at Elira, who sat calmly on the floor, building shapes with bits of light, floating in midair. She's different, Marcus said. She feels things, sees things. Zara added, she has power, but it's not just force, it's connection. Far above Earth, King Tharnak stood on the bridge of his dreadnought. The planet spun quietly below him. Launch ground units, he ordered. A general asked, what about the hybrid child? She will be taken alive. The rest of Earth, burn it. In a forest outside of a small Earth city, the Varnak dropships arrived. Trees shattered. The ground shook, but the humans were ready. Civilians had been evacuated, and behind the smoke, Earth fighters waited in silence. Boom. The first alien stepped out. Crack. A human sniper dropped it instantly. Bam. Hidden tanks opened fire from behind cliffs. Whoosh. Drone jets screamed through the air, dropping EMP bombs that shut down enemy tech. The aliens had numbers, but Earth had fury, and they had nothing left to lose. In the base, Elira suddenly stood still. Her eyes turned fully blue. Zira noticed first. Elira? What is it? Elira raised one tiny finger and pointed to the ceiling. The sky, she said softly. They're angry, but some of them are afraid. Marcus leaned down. Can you speak to them? Elira nodded once. Show me. Inside the Earth's broadcast room, Elira was placed before a glowing transmitter. Zira held her hand. You can do this, baby. Elira blinked, then placed her palm on the transmitter crystal. Suddenly, all across the orbiting Varnak fleet, screens lit up. Elira's face appeared. She did not scream. She did not beg. She simply said, I am not a weapon. I am not a mistake. I am your future. I feel your fear. I feel your pain. You don't have to follow hate. You can choose peace. On board the Varnak ships, hundreds of soldiers froze. Many dropped their weapons. Some looked away in shame. A few turned around and aimed their guns at their own commanders. Back on Earth, Marcus stared in disbelief. She's changing them, Zara whispered. She's uniting two worlds. But high above, King Tharnax roared with rage. She dares challenge me? My bloodline twisted by a human? He slammed his claw into the control panel. Charge the core cannon, I will strike Earth myself. Deep in Earth's crust, the hybrid child looked to the sky and said, Daddy, the fire is coming. Marcus nodded. We're ready. The Earth trembled, not from bombs, not from alien war machines, but from something quiet, something small. In the heart of a hidden mountain base, a child stood barefoot on a cold metal floor, her arms at her sides, her hair glowing faintly in the dim light. Illyra, only days old yet more aware than most adults, born from two bloodlines, human courage and alien legacy, and now, as the galaxy watched, she stood between two worlds, and prepared to speak. Outside, the skies above Earth were burning. King Tharnax's core cannon, a weapon large enough to vaporize a continent, charged slowly, feeding off the energy of dying stars. His flagship floated like a beast above Earth's orbit. On the ground, humans braced for the end. Soldiers held their positions. Families prayed in bunkers. Even Zara, Illyra's mother, stood frozen, her hands trembling. "Marcus," she whispered. "He'll wipe out everything, he won't stop." But Marcus watched Illyra. He didn't blink. She hasn't stopped growing, not just in size, but in strength. She feels everything. She can stop him. Zara turned. "She's just a child." Marcus said softly, "No, she's hope." Illyra closed her eyes. The air shifted around her. Light formed circles around her feet. Soft, blue-white rings like ripples in water. And then, she spoke without words. Her voice entered minds, across Earth, across the Varnak ships, even deep, inside Tharnax's battlecruiser. "Why are you afraid of me?" The words echoed in millions of heads. "I don't want to take your power, I don't want to rule you, I want to heal what's broken." A young Varnak soldier dropped his weapon, tears in his glowing eyes. On another ship, a pilot switched off his cannon system and whispered, "She's beautiful." In cities across Earth, people lifted their heads as calm filled the air. The fear began to melt, the hate began to slip. But in his ship, King Tharnax slammed his claw into the console. "Her mind tricks will not sway me," he roared. "Fire the cannon, now!" But something was wrong. The weapon didn't fire. The power had stopped. An engineer shouted, "The core is locked. Something's inside. Someone." The king's screen turned on. It was Illyra. Her tiny face looked up at him from the middle of the cannon's energy core, but she wasn't afraid. "Grandfather," she said in his mind, "please don't hurt them." Tharnax's eyes went wide. "You're inside my ship?" "No. I'm inside your heart. You were kind once. Before the war. Before the fear." Tharnax staggered back. Visions filled his mind, his daughter Zara as a child, laughing, dancing, painting stars on palace walls. He remembered. He remembered love. His hand shook. His body trembled. "You don't have to choose hate anymore," Illyra whispered. "You can choose me." In the mountain base, Marcus felt the shift in the air. Zara gasped. "The cannon, it stopped." Marcus smiled. "She's speaking to him." Zara fell to her knees. "Please, Father, listen to her. For once in your life, listen." On the warship, Tharnax dropped to one knee. His crown cracked as it hit the floor. Around him, his soldiers lowered their weapons. He covered his face. And for the first time in his long, proud life, he wept. The skies cleared. The cannon's glow faded. The Varnak fleet began to pull back, and on Earth all was still. For a full minute no one spoke. No one moved, because the war had ended. Not with guns, not with death, but with the voice of a child who refused to choose hate. Later that night, Illyra sat between her mother and father on a grassy hilltop under Earth's sky. She pointed up at the stars. "They're quiet now," she said softly. Zara asked, "What do you hear?" Illyra smiled. Peace. Peace had come, but not for everyone. The stars had quieted. The warships had pulled back, and for the first time in living memory, Earth and the Varnak Empire were not enemies, but deep within the shadows of the retreating fleet, a single warship did not move. It belonged to High Commander Vrax, King Tharnax's most loyal warrior. He had fought in every war, watched planets burn, And now, he watched in silence as his king bent the knee to a child. She poisoned your mind, Vrax whispered as he stared at the main screen, showing Alira's glowing face. She is no savior. She is a weapon. He turned to his crew. Target Earth's capital. One final strike. But the king surrendered, a young soldier said. Vrax's eyes burned. The king has forgotten who we are. I have not. Back on Earth, Alira played with butterflies in a green field. Birds returned to the trees. Wind carried laughter through the valley. Peace had begun to bloom. Zara stood nearby, speaking with Earth leaders and former Varnak envoys. Marcus was in the command tent, working to build a new alliance. No one saw the danger coming. No one. Except Alira. She stopped playing. Her eyes widened. They're coming, she whispered. Zara rushed to her. Who's coming, baby? Alira turned her gaze to the sky. He didn't listen. Alarms screamed across the base. Radar screens lit. Up an object was falling fast. Too fast. General Hayes barked orders. It's a rogue Varnak warship, heading straight for us. Marcus ran outside just in time to see the sky split open. The warship cut through clouds like a falling blade. Inside, Vrax prepared his final blow. I will not serve a hybrid. I will not bow to weakness. He locked the weapon on Earth's alliance camp. A direct strike would kill Zara, Marcus, and Alira. All targets in range, his pilot said. Vrax raised his hand. Fire. But the screen went white. In the field below, Alira had stepped forward. She held both hands in front of her, eyes glowing brighter than the sun. Wind spiraled around her. Trees bent. Energy formed in the air like lightning made of light. Zara grabbed Marcus's arm. She's doing it again. Alira whispered one word. Enough. The energy shot upward, silent, fast, unstoppable. It didn't destroy the warship. It held it. Like a giant hand of light, it stopped the vessel mid-air, freezing it miles above the ground. Inside, Vrax stared in shock as the engines died. Weapons melted and control vanished. What is she? The lights dimmed, and Alira's voice echoed in his mind. You want war, but war ends with you. The ship was gently lowered into the ocean, far from land, sealed and powerless. The threat was over. Later that evening, King Tharnax arrived on Earth. He wore no crown, no armor, just a simple black robe. He knelt before his daughter Zira, her partner Marcus, and his granddaughter Alira. I was blind, he said quietly, but you showed me light. Zara looked at him with pain in her eyes. You tried to kill us. I know, the king said, and still, you saved me. He turned to Alira, his voice shaking. Forgive an old fool if you can. Alira stepped forward. She touched his hand. I already did. The new peace treaty was signed under twin flags, Earth and Varnak. Side by side, the galaxy would remember this day, the day a war ended not with power, but with a little girl's heart. Final scene. On a balcony above the Earth capital, Alira looked up at the stars. Zara joined her. Do you still hear them? She asked. Alira nodded. They're listening now. For the first time ever, they're listening. Marcus stepped out, wrapping a blanket around them both. What will you do next? He asked. Alira smiled. Grow, learn, and one day, teach the stars how to love.